Welcome to Women Winning Divorce. I am your host, Heather Quick. I am an attorney, entrepreneur, author, and founder of Florida Women's Law Group, the only divorce firm for women by women. I love thinking big, thinking outside the box, creating creative solutions for women, and empowering women to win in all aspects of their life. Our approach at Florida Women's Law Group is to provide women with a strategy to not only achieve their objectives, but win at life. I believe that what may show up as adversity is simply an opportunity to change and improve your life. In each episode, I sit down with innovative professionals and leaders who are focused on how you can be your best self before, during, and after divorce. In these conversations, we are looking at how women can win at life. I have the unique opportunity to meet women when they are at a transition period of life. But that is only the beginning to becoming your best self and winning at life on your terms. With our guests, we enjoy the opportunity to explore ways all women can win and enhance their life, no matter where they are in their journey. Because divorce is just a point in life, not the end and not what defines you, rather a catalyst for your growth. Are you facing the challenges of divorce and feeling overwhelmed? Introducing Divorce 101, your essential online course designed to empower you through the divorce process. I'm Heather Quick, attorney and CEO at Florida Women's Law Group. Gain confidence and clarity with expert guidance on legalities, financial considerations, and your emotional well-being. We believe in empowering you to navigate this journey with strength and knowledge. Enroll in Divorce 101 today and take control of your future. As a valued podcast listener, you will get $100 off the course. So please see the show notes for the promo code and the link. You can also find out more at floridawomensLawGroup.com or always call us at 904-567-0121. Divorce for women by women. Welcome to this week's episode of Women Winning Divorce. I'm Heather Quick, owner and attorney at Florida Women's Law Group. Today we have Lora Cheadle, attorney, TEDx speaker, and betrayal recovery coach, who helps women who have been betrayed by their intimate partner. We are here today to talk about infidelity, betrayal, and how to move on from either or both. Welcome to the show, Lora.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Oh, me too. This is going to be fascinating. I just remember reading your bio and it's just great stuff. I know our listeners are as anxious to learn more about you and this topic as I am. So let's just jump right in, Lora, for our listeners. I'd love if you'd share a little bit about your journey to where you are now and how all of your experiences as an attorney, TEDx speaker, recovery coach, like how did that all play into? So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a journey I never anticipated. I will preface the whole thing by saying that I was a corporate attorney for 10 years. I thought I had an amazing marriage. We had, the normal ups and downs, the normal fight, the normal disagreements, but I thought we were this amazing, connected, strong, powerful couple and that everything was great. After about 10 years of practicing law, I left and entered the wellness and coaching space. My intent in doing that was because I thought as an attorney, I'm cleaning up messes and I would like to pivot and help people prevent the messes in the first place. So hence the transition into coaching, went back to school, became an somatic attachment therapist, hypnotherapist, all sorts of things to help people manage their wellness. I thought things were great. I thought I had it all. I thought it was all working out great. And then about a month before my youngest son, so I was going to be free, graduated from high school, I found out that my husband had been cheating on me for 15 years with 5 women. And to say I was shocked is the biggest understatement. I had no idea. I thought he adored me. I thought we were this great couple. I thought we were on the same page. I never saw any of it coming. And it's hard to explain what it feels like to realize the last 15 years were not what you thought.
Yeah.
Every holiday, every Christmas, every anniversary trip, everything was not what it was. And that shook, obviously, the foundation of my reality. I had to spend a lot of time grieving and processing and raging. But somewhere in there, I realized I don't want to be that bitter old lady who at 80 years old is still telling the story of how her husband wronged her. I don't want to be resentful. I am not going to give them the power to ruin my life. And I did everything that I could to heal, leaned into my own tools. And it's the best, worst thing that ever happened to me because it uncovered everything I needed to do to heal myself and to reclaim my identity and my self-worth. And as soon as I did that journey, people started reaching out to me and they'd say, I found out that this happened to you. Can you help me through this? So this was not a career that I necessarily chose, but I ended up doing it because I know how to do it because I've been there.
So you are you still practicing as an attorney? Do you still take legal clients?
I do not take legal clients. I can tell people what might happen in their case, in their state, what they might be entitled to, what they might need to know. I do mediation, and I will talk to them about the legal process. But at this point, I only coach and consult.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, so tell us a little bit about what is a betrayal recovery coach?
Absolutely. Betrayal is a very unique animal. It's different than grief or anything like that because it shatters the foundation of who you are. It disrupts your worldview. And with something else, you might be like, okay, well, I have to heal from this or I have to heal from that. With betrayal, it's very personal because you feel like I'm not good enough. I did something wrong. Why did he do it to me? Why did she do it to me? So it feels very, very personal. And it also requires you to change your entire worldview. All of your expectations, that people are good, that the people you love won't stab you in the back, that this is the way my life should have worked out. Why did I deserve this? If I tried so hard, how could this happen to me? It disrupts expectations on a very foundational level. So to recover from betrayal is very different. And you have to work with rebuilding your identity. You have to work with rebuilding your entire worldview. And it's an amazing opportunity to construct yourself again. But that takes patience and that takes self-awareness. And quite frankly, it's just scary.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Now, what can you help me and our listeners understand if there is a difference? But it sounds like there is. Is there a difference between betrayal and infidelity in your eye?
Yes. Oh, what a great question. Yes. Infidelity is a form of betrayal. Betrayal takes place anytime it's defined as rupturing your view of yourself or the world. So anytime your worldview is ruptured, you can have a sense of betrayal if somebody gives you a bad review at the end of the year. You can have a sense of betrayal if somebody takes credit for an idea. Betrayal happens so often just in a divorce because you have that expectation. Nobody gets married thinking, one day I'm going to get divorced.
Right.
So a betrayal, it can be a betrayal that this didn't turn out. If you have a miscarriage, it's a betrayal of an expectation. And it does take special tools to heal from betrayal.
Mhm. And now, how long have you been focusing on this as far as a betrayal recovery coach?
Yeah, absolutely. I have been doing this about 6 years. My pivot from life coaching, from regular coaching, self-empowerment coaching into the betrayal, that has evolved over the last 6 years.
All right. So I know, and this is really, it's very interesting. And I know for our listeners as well, because so many of them have been through this, going through this, or, maybe they don't even know. Now, what is betrayal blindness?
Betrayal, that's a great question. Betrayal blindness is when, well, let me start with cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when you basically see something out there, but it goes against what you believe. And in order to adopt that new belief, it would mean you would have to disrupt all of your old beliefs. So you just ignore it. Like if all of a sudden a little spaceship flew down in the street in front of you and landed and little purple men got out, you might be like, I don't have schema for this. I don't think I saw what I saw. That must have
Right.
been, yeah, that's something different. Betrayal blindness is the same thing. We don't expect our partners to cheat on us. So,
Mhm.
an example, I found condom in my husband's nightstand drawer. That didn't fit with why would he have condom? So I approached him and I said, "That's so weird. I'm not mad. I'm not upset. I'm not angry. This is so weird. Why do you have condom?" And
Mhm.
he's, "Oh, our boys are teenagers, and I decided to buy a pack of them because I thought I should have the conversation with them. I should pull some out. I should teach them about how they use, and I should distribute them because at some point this might be good information." And I thought, well, that makes sense. So I dismissed it. In reality,
Because that explanation fits with your belief as far as your marriage and your husband, right?
yes,
And it's a good it is a good reason.
right. It made
Mhm.
sense. Knowing what I know now, maybe should have, would have thought about that more, felt into it. Does this feel right? Asked the boys, has dad ever had a talk with you about using condoms? Did he? No. Did he ever pull them out? No. But that didn't fit in with my view of my husband. So I just accepted that explanation and moved on. And it's
Mhm.
very common. I want listeners to know if you look back on something, please don't beat yourself up and say, how stupid could I have been? Why didn't I do that? You're not stupid. That's normal. We see things that make sense to us. And if you're not ready to deal with it, your mind is also going to keep you safe by not letting you deal with it until you have the capacity and the resources to deal with it.
Um, I know, and this is, I gotta ask you this just because you gave that great example. So once you found out, was there for a period of time, or probably it lasted for quite some time, where you're like, oh my gosh, that was what that really was, or this now explains the behavior that I couldn't explain or I didn't have time to even really go into.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So many different things. So many different things. He traveled a lot for work. I would complain to my girlfriends. He always picks a fight with me before he leaves. That's so weird. Why does he pick a fight with me before he leaves? Oh, I think he's just stressed. That is so, I'll just deal with it. No, he would pick a fight with me before he was going to go cheat because he had to make me the enemy because he needed to justify his behavior in his mind. Totally makes sense now. Some of the texts that I would see with other women, I'd be like, "Oh, this is so funny. That seems so flirty." So I would ask about it. "What's up with that bizarre flirty text with that woman from work?"
Mm.
"Oh, well, she's going through a hard time. I really thought I would boost her ego. I'm just giving her a little bit of love and attention." Totally get it. You're right. She's a good friend. Yes, let's all reach out to. She needs that. You know, things like that. It's just
Mhm.
that we see things from our own perspective. Another one that I share a lot that just shows what a different view of the marriage we had. On days he would be really frustrated, he would get up early and he would leave for work. Wouldn't wake me up, wouldn't wait until the kids were up, wouldn't make coffee, he would just get up and leave. I would wake up, my alarm would go off, I'd be like, "Dang, the poor guy. He's up early working, he didn't have time to make coffee, he didn't say goodbye to the kids. Gosh, poor guy, I'm not gonna call him. He has got to be so stressed out and so busy. I'm not going to call. I'm not going to text. Well, in the meantime, he's at work thinking, I left and she should know that what she said hurt me. And if she cares, she'll call me. If she cares, she'll text. I mean, totally different stories going on in our head, but we just didn't know it because we only see things from our own perspective.
Yeah, right. Now, let me ask you this about women. Do you find that women categorize emotional infidelity as more or less offensive than, say, physical infidelity?
Great question. Some of it depends on the woman. Yes, some of it depends on the situation. But most people are more concerned with the emotional aspect of things because that's about you. Am I not a good enough conversationalist? Am I not attentive enough to your need? Why don't you want to share and get intimate with me? Because you can't hear me. I can't hear. What is this? What's wrong with me? And it's easy to say, well, it was just sex. It was just physical. It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can see that. And now let's talk about why some, and I'll just say women choose to stay or leave a relationship when there is infidelity, because it's not always an easy choice or black and white decision.
No, no. So much to talk about here. And just for the record, too, just so your listeners know, my husband and I separated and then we came back together and we are still together today.
Wow. Wow.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
impressive.
So there's a lot there. Okay. We all have the idea in our head. He ever does that to me, I'm out of here. But when it really happens, it's different. And it's shocking. And there is a visceral shock to it. It's not this headspace thing. It's this full body reaction. And you don't just fall out of love instantly. You don't just toss away your whole life instantly. There's trauma, there's shock. And the first reaction is, I don't know. I have to wait for the world to stop spinning. And I need to let my feet touch down first. And I often tell the women that I coach, don't make a decision right away because you are in a state of shock. You are in a state of trauma.
Right.
Just stop for a minute. You can always leave later, unless you're physically being hurt, unless you're emotionally being hurt. In that case, get out. But you need to take care of yourself right now. You need to stop the world from spinning and figure things out. Why was there infidelity? That's a big one. Is your partner willing to work on it? In my case, my husband and I separated because I got the typical responses. Well, it was your fault. It was because you did. It was because you didn't. And it was like, no game here. No go. If you're going to continue, if you're going to blame me for this, I didn't choose this. No. After separating for a while, he came to me one day. He has a background with a lot of trauma. Most men who cheat have a background with a lot of trauma. Cheating is a coping mechanism. The way that cheating is often portrayed in the media, that we locked eyes across the crowded room. No, 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 no. Cheating is not about love. Cheating is not about lust. Cheating is a coping mechanism for people who can't identify their emotions or express their emotions or communicate. The person who cheats is in pain. They think cheating is somehow going to help. They try it. It doesn't help. Then all this shame comes in. It's a nasty spiral for them. So my husband came to me and he said, I don't know what's going to happen, but I need you to know this wasn't about you. And it was like, game on. If you're willing to explore you, I'm willing to explore me, and I'm willing to have a conversation because, are you kidding me? 5 women? 5 women for 50 years? That doesn't make sense. You're totally right. There's something that's wrong with you. Way wrong. I'm willing to be a part of that to see how this develops. Are you willing to become a different kind of man? I thought you were amazing. Now I know the truth. Now you are exploring yourself. Let's create a new relationship, never going back to that old relationship, but I'm willing to have a new relationship with a completely healed man. And I am a completely new person now. So for the people who decide to stay, you are not in the same relationship. Do not go back to that same relationship. It will happen again.
Or expect, right? Expect that that's what you may romanticize and think, well, oh, I want it back that way, but not if you're going to stay together and not repeat the same things, right?
Right. Right. You have to be new and different people, and you have to
Yeah.
create a new and different relationship. What is the person who cheated on you going to do the next time they feel angry, the next time they feel bad inside and can't identify their emotion? What are they going to do? What is their new coping mechanism? Show me that new coping mechanism, and let's have a conversation.
Now, can infidelity, or how does it play into the divorce? And I'm just looking at it from a perspective of California, Colorado, and Florida. We are no fault state. There are some instances where it would be relevant, but I'd be really interested to know your perspective based on those states.
Yeah. No, and just like you said, it being no fault, it's not usually relevant. Sometimes if marital funds were spent or diverted, things like that. But as far as in terms of, is it going to change the division of assets, the allocation of parenting time? No, unless there was some abuse involved, unless something was going on with the other woman, that might impact things. But infidelity in general, no.
Okay, so that's similar, very similar to how it is in Florida. Now, let's talk about this. If you are at the point of divorce, if our listeners are at the point of divorce, they've decided to leave, but then once they've left, how that you help them, how can they begin to move on? Obviously we're talking about betrayal and infidelity. How do they do that?
Yeah, I've got a 5-step process that I walk people through. And exactly, you are right at that point. You go through all this stuff, you make the divorce, get the divorce rolling, you're there, and you're like, now what? Now what? My 5-step process is encapsulated in the acronym FLAUNT. And I love the energy of FLAUNT because it's just like, cool, let all this go and let me rise, let me be in the rest of my life. And what I like about having an acronym is however you're feeling, whether you're feeling down, whether you're feeling stressed, whether you're feeling confused, if you go to this acronym, one of these 5 steps is going to help you. And these 5 steps help you rebuild your identity so you can start trusting yourself again. And the F stands for find your fetish. And I love the word fetish because when you're a child, you play for the sake of playing. You play because it lights you up. You get lost in play. As an adult, as somebody who's gone through a divorce, you don't release and relax like that. Everything is for a purpose. I do this for a purpose. And it's exhausting. And to reclaim your nervous system, to relax, you need to find that fetish and play. It could be dancing. It can be crafting. It can be taking walks. Go to Meetup, Eventbrite, see what's available at your community center or rec center. Find what brings you joy and do that thing. The L in FLAUNT stands for laugh out loud. When we're serious, we think we can't laugh. Laughter, according to the Mayo Clinic, is the #1 way to calm and re-regulate the nervous system. It feels good. It tones your abdominal muscles. It burns calories. It's fun. If you're not laughing, life isn't worth living. Find movies, find comedians, find Instagram sites, call a friend who always makes you laugh. Watch reruns, do anything. But once a day, consciously cultivate laughter, even if it's just for 30 seconds. AU is the golden center of FLAUNT, and that stands for accept unconditionally. There is nothing worse than being locked in that headspace of, if only this wouldn't have happened. If I only would have known this, if I could have done this, if he would have done this, doesn't matter. So much energy is being wasted. Accept unconditionally, accept who you are unconditionally, accept who they are unconditionally. We fall in love with people's potential. We don't fall in love with who they are. Accept this is who they are. Maybe they can become a great person in the future. If so, maybe you can get together again. If not, you're free. Accept that maybe you need to do some work now on yourself to make yourself more confident. Accept that you've got wounding. Accept everything. This is the financial state you're in. This is whatever it is. If you have to go back to work, accept it. Peace comes from acceptance. It's not about forgiveness. It's about unconditional acceptance of what is. The N in flaunt stands for navigate the negative. We never get to that perfect place where we can relax and enjoy life. We have to navigate every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year. When we start thinking about navigation, it's just part of the joy, part of the game. It's like Candyland. You roll the dice, you take steps, you get sent back. It's navigation. It's life. It's not when I lose 10 pounds, when I find a new love, when I get a new job, when the kids are navigate in the moment. Just navigate it. You're not being punished. And then the very last step of flaunt is T for trust in your truth. We are so conditioned, I think, especially women, to thinking that somebody knows something that we don't know and that we need to get help from somebody. Yes, sometimes we do. We need therapists. We need attorneys. We might need a financial planner. Yes, but trust yourself. If something feels bad, if you're getting that intuitive sense that something's wrong, it's wrong. If you're not liking someone or something, honor yourself, trust yourself, build up your own self-worth. This is your life. Connect your head, connect your heart, and make choices that you feel good about.
Yeah, I really like that. And especially the trust yourself, because I think that, it's crazy as humans, too often we discount our instincts. And particularly after you've been, through something like that, like the betrayal, infidelity, and a divorce. I think many times a lot of women don't trust themselves. And you may not know, how to do your taxes or what investments to make. But I do think if you trust this person or not. If this is the right match to work with and go with that. And if there's not, I think that it's fine to say, like, this is not the right person and I'll find them. You don't have to have a reason, especially after coming through a divorce. And now, and I'm thinking to, women who you're going to have to make a lot of decisions that you may not have made alone before, or it may have been within what your husband was dealing with. And you might not have the words to say why you do or don't like somebody, right? And you think, well, I don't have this training, so I will just go with them. But I think that you trusting yourself is huge. And I bet that's really, really hard, right? Because in building your new identity, one, there was so much trust, right, that was broken and you didn't know or were unable to see. So now you are doubting your instinct, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Women will say to me all the time, my picker is broken. I keep making mistakes. My picker is broken. And it's like, okay, first of all, your picker is not broken. But are you checking in with your body? Are you picking based on just what your brain says? Because you also have a heart and you also have a gut. Check in with everything. Everything is not just a headspace decision. If you're loving this attorney from your gut, from your heart, then is it a full body yes? Or do you have some doubt? And also, it's okay if you make mistakes. It is so okay to go with somebody and then be like, you know what, this isn't turning out the way I thought, but I have agency. I can make a new decision. There are very few decisions in life that we can't change.
Right. Now, something you talk about is moving on at your own pace. I'd love for you to share a little bit about that for our listeners as well.
Yeah. It's great to share with other people what you're going through, but everybody has an opinion. And they don't know how you feel inside. You might feel heartbroken for too long. You might be ready to move on too fast. What does that even mean? Move on at your pace. When you need to step back and mourn, step back and mourn. If you need to celebrate too soon, celebrate too soon. This is all part of trusting yourself. We process differently. We all have different trauma histories in our past. We all had different expectations in our marriages. Sometimes by the time we get to a divorce, we've been out of love with our partner for 10 years and we've really been alone for 5. So we've done the heavy processing and we're like, yeah, I'm ready. Other times we're not. There is no timeline. The only timeline is within you. And can you say, I'm satisfied with where I'm at right now. I'm grieving and I know it will end. Or I'm grieving and I'm stuck and I can't get out of it. And I can't find my confidence again. And I can't find my footing again. That's a clue you need help. If you want something and you are not getting it, get help. You are stuck and it's okay. We're all stuck. We're all stuck. But your picker is not broken. You're here now. You're here now.
Now, on your podcast, you recently talked about moving in a circle versus moving ahead. I'd love it if you could explain that.
Yeah. Growth is not a linear process. And so often we think I'm going to go from point A, broken and traumatized and going through divorce, to point B, powerful, a new career and hot body. And it doesn't go like that. Healing is always a spiral journey. And we spiral up and up and up, but we revisit those same pain points over and over again. You don't just cry over a death once. You don't just say, yep, I got over it. I dealt with it. Anniversaries come up. Trauma comes up. Triggers come up. You'll see a movie. You'll see a memory on Facebook, and it will trigger something in you, and you'll be in that spiral again. But it's an elevating upward spiral. So yes, do you have a mother wound? Do you have a father wound? Yes, keep revisiting those. You don't just grieve once. You never lose somebody you love. Like I said, death. When somebody in your family that you love dies, you don't just grieve for 3 months and then say, bing, I'm over it. It comes up. You know how that is? Like 5 years later, you're like, whoa, why am I hit with that? Because it triggered something and you're spiraling up and you're unpacking and you're healing and you're uncovering. And it's layers and they're beautiful layers. Honor it. Feel what you feel. Be where you're at. That's that unconditional acceptance. Continue to spiral through and get help when you need a push through it.
Mhm. Now, feeling urgency to heal or fix the issue at hand can be a trauma response. I would love if you could unpack that a little for us and our listeners just to understand what that means.
Oh, yeah. I will give you a little story because this story, I think, helps illustrate it. If you're sitting in your living room on a Sunday and you have your cup of tea and your book and your soft music going and everything is perfect, and the neighbor's dog comes running in your living room and poops all over your carpet and then runs out, you have poop in your living room to deal with. Okay. What are you going to do? You can go talk to your neighbor. You can yell at them. You can beg with them. You can plead with them. You can explain how unfair it is. If they're not going to clean it up, they're not going to clean it up. And there's nothing you can do. Or you can go to the store and buy a beautiful throw rug and throw it on top of the poop, which might take care of the problem for a few minutes, but it's going to grind the poop into the carpet. It's going to grind it into the back of the rug. It's going to start smelling. And you've created a bigger mess for yourself down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can let things go and you can start doing the work to clean it. You can start buying the cleaning chemicals, the cleaning rags. You might have to cancel your lunch appointment. It's going to disrupt reading your book. It's going to disrupt your beautiful Sunday afternoon. You might have to clean 2 or 3 times, but you want to take care of it and heal it to the point of there's no smell and there's no stain. Because if you do a bad job cleaning it and there's always a spot there, every single time you walk by that spot, you're going to be reminded and you're going to be like, I hate that dog. I hate my neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Not fair. So the trauma response is, I have to make it better right now. I'm not worthy of time. I can't change things. I can't spend the money on cleaning chemicals. I can't take the time. What will people think? I'm not good enough. Why couldn't I have talked to my neighbor into it? I have to make it better now. Don't have to make it better now. As with cleaning up dog poop, as anybody who has dogs know, you have to clean it a few times. You have to sometimes let it dry and clean it again. Sometimes you have to get a steam cleaner. Sometimes you need a professional to come in and get out the stain. You have to honor yourself enough to take the time to do it right. And it's about that self-love and that honoring. I deserve the time to get it right. I deserve the resources to get it right because I deserve an environment that supports me. Not one that looks good on the outside, but is stinky.
Right. That's an amazing analogy.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really, really good. So, because it definitely really makes you think about it and how we do choose to address problems sometimes because that's our subconscious, protecting us, and we think it's the right way, but yet it's gonna fester and it's gonna continue, and you really haven't addressed anything. You just put it off for another day.
Exactly. And in fact, you're making it worse. You're making it worse.
It's gonna be worse, right? Every day later, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. And keep piling on those throw rugs sometimes. And it's like, no, you've got to get out, strip out of those layers.
Now, why is it important to verbally recognize that you're not yet ready to move forward?
Just like I was saying earlier with like the covering it, sometimes we want to pretend that we're more healed than we are because I want to be strong. I want to be powerful. I want to be resilient. And of course we do. We all want to be that success story. But when you pretend and you deny, you're not going to move ahead any more quickly than you can. My example on that is if you have a GPS and you want to be in California instead of Florida, and you're saying, I'm in California, not Florida, but your starting destination is not California, it's Florida. So if you're trying to get to Colorado, which is in the middle of the country, if you're lying and saying I'm in California and it's telling you to go east, it's totally different. So you'll be in Florida trying to go east and you can't. It's going to take you out to the ocean because you're not where you're at. So the steps that you're taking to heal will be meaningless. Go east, not going to help. You need to be where you're at. And it's okay. That's part of honoring yourself too. I'm not ready to let this one go. I'm not done crying. I'm not done grieving.
Yeah. And, well, and I think that's like, it makes me think, how do you navigate the in-between state of wanting to leave, but maybe not feeling ready yet, or just feeling still so sad, grieving, maybe confused, not trusting in your own self because you had this belief of who you were, your marriage, what it was, and it turned out to not be true.
Yeah. It's not fun. What I always recommend in that in-between time, journaling. Journaling is huge. I've got some journal prompts I can send to you if you want some specific journal prompts. You can Google journal prompts. You can just open up a journal and start writing. But when we write something down, it connects to the subconscious portion of our mind and things will come up. And when things come up, it opens a loop in our mind and our mind scans the environment looking for answers. So if you start writing about the things that you don't know, I'm not sure about this, I can't figure that out. The mind is like, oh, ding, 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 this is it. Ding, 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 that's it. Journaling really, really helps. Even if you're not a journaler, just write for a little bit. And the other thing around that is there's no harm in waiting. Unless you're being physically or emotionally abused, there's no harm in waiting. Educate yourself. Maybe get a credit card in your own name. Double check your account. Make sure you're on titles to cars. Learn about the insurance. Learn about the things that you didn't know about. maybe stash some cash. Check what what the cost of rent is. Start educating yourself. If you need to go back to work, start perusing jobs, start brushing up on some skills. There's so many things you can do in that gap that will make your life easier no matter which way you choose to decide. But ultimately, work on you. What I always say, like the whole tagline of my business is betrayal uncovers the truth, not only about your partner, but about
Right.
you, about your weaknesses, about the things you
Mhm.
failed to address. So now is the time to do you and grow.
Right. And, I think, however, it does come up, right, for our listeners who may find themselves in that position. Um, and I think I was reading something this morning, but, we can only, it depends how spiritual you are, but if you believe that, you're only going to receive as much as you can handle, if you are receiving it and you've heard this truth now about your relationship, it really means you're ready to address it, and that's why you couldn't see it before. You weren't able or ready to do the work, which is, it's worth it, but you
Mhm.
may discover things about yourself that you don't wanna know, but I think that's right part of growth, right?
Yeah, yeah. I want to affirm that. I mean, I will look back and think if I would have found out at any other time, I wouldn't have been able to handle it as well as I did when I found out. That was the divine right timing for me. And
Right.
who I have become, I'm in love with myself in a whole different way. I'm powerful in a whole different way. I I didn't think perfectionism was a problem. You know? Now I'm like, "Oh, wow, there was a lot of ways I was posturing. There was a lot of ways I
Mhm.
was too ingrained in people pleasing. There was a lot of ways I abandoned myself, and I didn't realize it."
Right, right. Yeah, I think and that's part of giving yourself some grace as well. Like, now, which obviously if we have that opportunity and we want to reflect back, hopefully we all recognize where we grow and when we are, know better, we are able to do better and move forward, but you can't really rush that.
Mm-mm,
You can't.
mm-mm, no. And there's a fine line, it's really about staying consciously aware. I wanna honor myself, give myself the grace and space to grieve, and I also need to choose who and how I wanna be. Do I wanna be a bitter woman for the next 20 years? No. You know?
All right. Yeah.
Lean into it, give yourself the space, and it's worth it. It's a really good quality journey. You will never be sad after divorce that you went through the divorce. And if you are, you can get remarried.
There you go. That's right. Now, let's talk a little bit about what role does resistance to change play in all of this as well?
That is such a good one. Everything you ever wanted is just on the other side of resistance. The mind is programmed to keep us safe. Whatever is normal to us, whatever we get used to, our mind knows will keep us safe and alive. And I want you to think about this in abuse situations. Again, just like speaking to women, say women who are abused by their domestic partner, they will attempt leaving that partner about 7 times and then go back about 7 times before they finally break free. And it's not that they're weak. It's not that they're beaten down. It's that their mind says, I know how to handle this. I have
Mhm.
survived this beating more than once. I have survived this emotional abuse more than once. I can survive this. And we are programmed to keep, our mind is programmed to keep this organism alive.
Yeah.
And it's scary. And
Sure.
our brain thinks, maybe I will die on my own. Maybe everybody will leave me. Maybe I can't make ends meet. Maybe I will be vulnerable. And the rational part of your mind knows better. But we have what's called the reptilian brain, and it is there for a reason, and it is programmed to keep us safe. So, what I recommend doing is talking to that part of you that is there to keep you safe. And you can say, brain, thank you. Thank you so much for keeping me safe. I know that you're concerned about my well-being. I know that you have my best interest at heart, but I've got this. I'm the adult. I'm the rational, reasonable part. I am the divine sovereign queen of my own self, and I'm going to choose differently. Thank you for keeping me safe, but this choice is mine. And sometimes that helps that resistance drop
Right.
because it's only there to try to keep you safe.
And just to talk about the journaling again, that can also help, because if you really start to write down those fears and the reasons why not, you'll then maybe look at them and go, oh, well, maybe that really isn't as fearful as I thought. But by putting them on paper, you sometimes almost can release them and move beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you start breaking it down. Is this really true? Will I never find love again? Well, I don't know. Is that really true? Like, who says I won't love again?
Right.
Yeah. Am I going to really have no friends? Am I really going to die as an old bag lady under a bridge because nobody will ever love me again? No, no,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen.
Now we're getting near the end of the show, but I would love to know the answer, and I'm sure our listeners would love to know the answer to this. So, say you have moved on and forgiven your spouse, your partner. How do you know they won't cheat on you again?
You don't. You absolutely don't. You don't know that your next partner will or will not cheat on you again. You don't know if, you don't know anything because the only thing we can control is ourselves. But you have experience now that you didn't have before. We learn more from our mistakes than we do by just learning something and having it come easy.
Right.
You are back with that same partner. You know them differently. They know themselves differently. You know patterns differently. You are more likely to be aware and open to things.
Mhm.
And the thing is, you can't control anything. So how are you going to live your life? Are you going to live in a place of trust and looking around with your eyes open based on this new information that you have? Or are you going to be tracking their phone and following them around and living in a state of paranoia? You can live however you want to live. If you want to track your partner for the rest of your life because that makes you happy, have at it. But that doesn't make me happy. I want to live in a place of trusting that I can handle whatever happens. If he is truly stupid enough to cheat again, it's not my problem. It doesn't say anything about me. And I will handle things differently next time. We're not having another chance. I know how to take care of myself. I am better prepared for a divorce right now. I've lived on my own now. I've got finances separated in a way that is more suitable to a divorce. Like, I'll be fine. I'm a better person now anyway.
Mhm. I think that is so helpful. I appreciate that answer, because that's really, what I think many women would want to know. And you're right. There, you don't know, you can't, but are you better prepared? And have you, I think what you had said very early on in our show, you both got to do the work.
Yeah.
And it should be a different relationship. And so I would say, if it's not a different relationship and you're both back in the same patterns, you should probably get prepared, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's not going to work. I mean, my husband has different coping mechanisms now. We talk differently. He shares
Mhm.
things differently. It is a totally different relationship because he's a different person and I'm a different person. So
Right.
could a new person cheat on me? Of course.
Right.
But now I have rebuilt my new worldview. I don't trust that everybody is wonderful and that I'm always going to be taken care of. I'm stronger. I trust myself and I know I can handle it. Whatever happens, I don't want anything bad to happen, but I can do
Right.
I can do it.
Mhm. Well, Laura, before we go, can you impart on our listeners what you've learned about women and their resilience throughout your career?
Uh, Women are so wise. I don't really love the word strong. We are strong. It's just so hard to be strong sometimes. What I have found is women's wisdom is amazing because women connect not only to their heart and their soul, but they connect to everybody, whether it's friends, whether it's children, animals, partners. Like women care about the world in a different way. And women tend to be more collaborative and seek more wisdom. And women tend to have more of the ability to raise everybody up and to create win-win outcomes. And I really think the strength of women is creating that win-win situation that takes everybody into consideration. So yes, advocate for on behalf of yourself, get what you're entitled to and deserve, knowing that you are going to do good things with the things that you receive.
Well, that is awesome. Lastly, Laura, can where can our listeners find you for more information and resources?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to betrayalrecoveryguide.com, I have got a 6-part download. You can download a 53-minute guided meditation that will help you release trauma from your brain. I have got amazing goodies. A download from my chapter, journal prompts on creating the next chapter of your life, and pick up all of those, betrayalrecoveryguide.com. You can also just check out my website, loracheadle.com.
Wonderful. Well, we have reached the end of our show today. Thank you so much, Lora Cheadle, for joining us today to discuss flourishing, after things as hard as infidelity and betrayal and how you move on. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for doing this.
Absolutely. And listeners, if you or someone you know is going through a divorce or is thinking about a divorce in the Northeast Florida area, please reach out to us at floridawomensLawGroup.com or join our Facebook group, Women Winning Divorce, where we have created a community of women and have positive and supportive conversation. You'll find the links below in the episode description, as well as all of the links that Laura mentioned. And if you enjoyed the show, we would greatly appreciate a 5-star review so that others can find us as well. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of Women Winning Divorce. My goal is to elevate your life and the way you are thinking so that you are best equipped to win at life. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe so you automatically get my new shows every week. And I would love to hear from you personally. Come join the conversation on social and join our Facebook group, Women Winning Divorce. We welcome your comments and suggestions. We want to bring you content that helps move your life forward. Women Winning Divorce is the place for an elevated conversation on how women can thrive during times of adversity in order to live their best life.